In a previous video, I compared what was happening now, which is in this little section over here, which you can't really see at the moment, to what happened in November and December last year. But I've since discovered that I made, well, two errors, two errors in my analysis of what we were seeing. First of all, as you can see at the moment, I have what happened last year, so that we can see it nicely, on a one-day chart. Now, it works perfectly on a one-day chart. As you can see, these basic trend lines that I drew over the low areas got progressively steeper and steeper until the peak on the 19th of December last year. I think it was the 19th. And then before it dropped off. Now, one of the mistakes I made when I did my last video on this, the comparison between then and now, is I went and I changed so that we could see what was happening at the moment. I changed to a 1 hour chart so that we could see it better. As you can see now, let me just get the scale a bit right. As you can see, we did go progressively steeper and steeper, but then things didn't quite work out. Now, because we were already at this angle, which is probably around 45 degrees, maybe a little bit steeper than that, there wasn't a hell of a lot more to go before we hit almost vertical as it did last year. But because we are only looking in a 1 hour chart, this would have happened, if it carried on like that, it would have happened way early and at a much lower price than the highs we saw last year. As it is, I am of the opinion that we are going to see this whole rise in price end way higher than it did last year. So we're looking at in excess of $20,000. If you look at it on a one-day chart with a steepness, it's not going to do that. We will be vertical before we even get halfway there. So that is one of the errors I made. What I needed to do is actually look at it also on a one-day chart, but just scale it so that we can see it properly. Let's just get that, stretch it out a little bit. As you can see now, I might have been a little bit hasty drawing these charts, but because we are only at $7,600 at the moment, we are nowhere near the highs we saw last year. Therefore, this kind of thing is, I might have been looking at it too closely or zooming in way too much. This last one, I would imagine we could remove that, and possibly even that one. I mean, you're talking about a candle 1 day apart. It's ridiculous. Whereas on the December section of the chart that I showed you, we were probably looking at 3-4 weeks apart. The points that are joined with these lines. So yes, I think I was a little bit hasty in identifying this pattern, although I think it will probably do that. That is how it's going to happen, but I think it's just a little bit soon. We are nowhere near. We are only just starting the rise now, and yes, things will get steeper and steeper. But if you try and compare daily candles like this, it buggers up the routine or the pattern that it's making, because we are just zoomed in way too far if we try and join these candles 1 day at a time. So for the time being, I think we should, although I think it is going to do that, it will do that, I'm pretty sure. I don't think it is wise to do the analysis unless I go back and compare the analysis on a 1 hour chart in December, which is going to be a laborious task, and I'm not really into that at the moment. But that aside, as you can see, Bitcoin has made some decent rises, and the interesting thing to me is that it has, after the rise, it hasn't made any serious drops in price, which means it's holding well, it's strong. There's the sentiment is good. People are starting to realize that this thing could go a long way, and they're not actually selling off now. There might be a few people taking small profits, but there's nothing big in the market that says, take your profits now. It looks like people have confidence, as you can see in the last, this is actually the last few hours. It's not although it's a 1-day chart. The last few hours, the Bitcoin price has come up very nicely again. Excuse me. Another interesting thing is these two charts, the MACD and the stochastics RSI. As you can see, they are both high at the moment. 100 on this scale would be probably classified as overbought. We are not quite there yet. It's high and it's staying high, and the short-term average, or the blue line, let me just get rid of this. The blue line has just turned and it's come back up over the longer-term average, which means that sentiment is good and people are bullish about it. The same with the MACD. As you can see, we are in the good territory above the zero. There's a decent gap between the short and the long term, between the 12 and the 26-day average, which bears well. People are confident. This is all looking very good. As you can see, we had a nice little rise in volume while this rise in price took place. All very good indicators. I don't see any sell-off coming soon. Maybe another $3,000 up, I think. Somewhere around $10,000. I think we might see a little sell-off, not much, and I don't think it'll last very long before we carry on heading up again. Things are looking good. That's it for the Bitcoin chart today. I'm going to make another video regarding what has happened with the Dignity swap in a second. I just want to get this one edited and uploaded, and then I will do a Dignity video quickly. Not to worry, Dignity is alive and well, and I will explain everything in the next video. Cheers.